the working classes of Liverpool were being offered an alternative foreign vision. I've come a long way to show you this film from the 30s. It's a fantastic film. It's about Liverpool and why Liverpool was important within the story of council housing. And as you were all from major estates in Liverpool, I thought it'd be great to have a look at the film and see what you think about the estates themselves and what memories you have of them.
I'm introducing to you a film dealing with one of the most vital social problems of our time, housing.
It was this man, Lancelot Key, who introduced the modern flat into the lexicon of council housing. Flats were part of a foreign tradition. For the British, they conjured up memories of old, squalid Victorian tenements, an image that Key would help to consign to the past.
St Andrew's Gardens is the most important surviving example of Liverpool's very, very extensive programme of interwall flats, a series of very large estates that ringed the city centre. It's the only city outside of London that's really committed to building flats on this scale. And this is due to the particular circumstances of Liverpool. You've got a dockside economy, which is casually based, and people need to be physically close to the docks every single day in order to get work. So putting everybody out into council estates on the edge of the city is not really going to work for a city like Liverpool.
The council's housing department looked abroad, transforming the image of the flat by importing some European modernism.
It's borrowing very much from the so-called Horseshoe Estate in Brits in Berlin, but the English housing standards of the interwar period were a lot higher than those seen in other countries. The Tudor-Walters report really laid down minimum space standards, minimum standards of amenities that really the English were quite rightly proud of. So really, for the time, they're incredibly well appointed, most importantly very spacious, and you've got ventilation on both sides of the building. You've got through ventilation, which is a crucial sanitary aspect of these buildings. You've got the idea that any internal corridors are less healthy than an access balcony which is open to the air, and that's the means of access to all of these flats, and the same with the stairwells. So they really couldn't be more different from the dark, dingy and often very disease-ridden slums that you see down in the city centre.
Liverpool's slums were among the most densely populated in Britain, a public health risk as much as a housing issue. And in 1930, the Ministry of Health in Ramsay MacDonald's Labour government instituted a 5-year slum clearance plan.
Slums are gradually disappearing, giving way to new development in and around the city. Foundation stone at the entrance to Gerrard Gardens was laid in 1935 by the Right Honourable Sir Kingsley Wood, then Minister of Health.
Government subsidies were available for the building of flats on sites where slums had been razed to the ground. The epic scale of the estates that emerged astonished contemporaries and enthralled their new inhabitants.
My first memory of moving to the square is actually being on the handcart with my dad, taking the furniture down, because we only lived about 400 yards away. Going up all these stairs that you go, my God, where's all these stairs come from?
Someone once said it was like living in a castle, and it was.
It was like a fortress.
All our friends lived there. All the people you went to school with lived there. But I think because you knew all the kids, you also knew the parents. And there was a lot of respect at that time. You always called the parents, hello, Mrs. Birchall. You always called them by the surname. You knew them, but more importantly, they knew you. And that's a powerful commodity when you're a kid, the fact that everybody knows who you are. And I think that's what maybe separates the gangs of kids from the squares where we lived, with the pockets of kids which hang around on street corners now who were totally anonymous. I think that sense of belonging doesn't exist anymore, and I think that's the key. We all felt as though we belonged somewhere.
I know from personal contact with the tenants who move into the new dwellings how much they appreciate the amenities provided for them.
I was 6, and we sat on the floor at fish and chips the first day we arrived, which was lovely because it was a lovely house, and we ran all into every room to see what there was, you know, and it was lovely being able to turn the tap on and there was hot and cold.
The idea of being able to put a light switch on you know, some lights, have your own bathroom. It's just heaven to us kids, you know.
Came in from the landing and there was a long hallway which was red tiles. And there were 3 bedrooms and a living room and a little scullery which we called the back kitchen.
Everyone got washed in the kitchen, the little scullery, because there was no sink in the bathroom. You'd say, who's got the soap? And someone would say, Winnie's got it, that's my other sister. She'd be doing the step with it.
The difference between slum property and this house and its surroundings you can see for yourself. The struggle to make both ends meet has ceased, and we are all perfectly happy and healthy.
Over time, the flats that remain have been redeveloped. They're now privately owned. But visiting today, you still get a sense of what they must have meant for those early council tenants.
That place, the house there was Mrs. Bristow's. This bottom one, on the very bottom. Right. And Fisher's in the corner.
Fisher, yeah.
Of course, above. Where the chaps just come out of. Now, do you live in that corner house? We lived there 50 years ago and we're making a film. I was brought up there 50 years ago.
And me.
I wondered if it's possible to just have a quick look. Oh, would you, please?
Is there any way we can come up and have a look?
Oh, sure. Oh, that's
what
great.
Number is it?
No, it was 21B, but it's not now. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
How long since you've been here, Tony?
50 years for me.
43 years for me.
Oh, I see. They've knocked into that bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
And made the living room L-shaped.
Yeah. That's a much bigger kitchen than we had.
This is massive to what we had.
Yeah. And the fireplace is there.
Radiogram in that alcove there. Oh my God.
No, you can't believe it, honestly.
You all right, love?
Yeah, just...
Yeah. A lot of happy memories here, though.
Absolutely.
Lots of happy memories.
Absolutely.
You see where the little bus is now?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was where the swings were.
All the people along the landing, usually at the weekend, would be out scrubbing their steps, right as far as you could see.
The story of council housing in Liverpool is not simply that of individual homes, but of vast estates of flats and houses that formed a vision for the redevelopment of an entire city. Building was halted by World War II, during which the impact of bomb damage made the housing problem more acute than ever. Council housing was becoming an essential social service, providing permanent homes, more of a right than a privilege. I'd love to know from you what you actually think council housing has done for a city like Liverpool.
Well, I remember my mum's face when we first moved into the house. I just felt overjoyed for her. There was me mum and dad, 9 kids, 11 people in a 2-up, 2-down, cockroach-infested slum. She wanted a brand new 4-bedroomed Corpy house, not too far from where we were living, thank you very much. And we got it. And I've got to say, my dad, he brought up 9 kids. You know, we all work, we've all paid taxes. We haven't been in prison or anything like that. 9 kids in a very poor working class area. He went away to fight a war when he was a young man. He fought every day of that war. He came home and he worked every hour God sent, you know. And of course he deserved a home fit for a hero. Yeah. He was a hero, you know. And we were entitled to that council house, you know. It's not that we thought it was owned by the council. That was our house. And so my mum and dad spent a fortune. They bought railings. You know, they spent a fortune on the garden. They decorated. They changed things around. That was their house, and they looked after it. You know, it's interesting we're speaking now. It's just been announced that you know, you can only have short-term tenure of council housing in the future. That's pernicious. I mean, just imagine somebody coming along and saying to us, "I'm sorry, your economic circumstances have changed. Your mum and dad have got to get out now." We'd be in there with baseball bats waiting for somebody to knock on the door. Try it now. This is our house, you know. It's just... It's ludicrous. Just because it's a council house doesn't mean it's not yours.
In 1945, following a Labour landslide, the Minister for Health, Nye Bevan, oversaw the creation of a welfare state in which public housing would be as universal as health and education. A utopian vision of council housing for all that led to the foundation of entirely new towns.